Oh, let me get the Mad Max super chat real quick. Shout out to Mad Max getting the super chats in. He says, "Coop, I need an apology for your Conway Fab take. I was I was bumping Fab's projects again, and you either bumped your head or you lost your mind. Funeral Fab. You know what? Before we get into the Melly Mel thing, I want to make sure everybody gets in the
You want to
room.
know
Thumbs
what?
up in the chat and all of that. I've been getting all kind of texts about um, our takes on the Conway and Fab thing. Would you like to clarify? Do you feel like Fab is just not elite in that way, or why do you feel like Conway is above? Which why do you feel like you would rate Conway over Fab?
Show me the record or show me the album that makes you feel like Fabulous is superior, seeing how he's been along succinctly longer.
Mad Max with the super chat says Hove, Big, Kane, Az, and Fab, a top 5 Brooklyn artists ever.
No, Fab is
Um,
not top five Brooklyn. He's not better than AZ. He's not better than Yasin. He's not better than the Jizza. Stop that. And you
nah,
got,
man. You know what?
and you already know you got your big three. You got Kane, Big, and Jay. So
Are we counting Busta Rhymes for Brooklyn?
if we count Busta Rhymes for Brooklyn, you know what I mean? He gonna be on the back end of the top 10.
I'm sorry, man. Like, y'all might laugh or whatever, but I think overall, I'm ranking Lil Kim higher than Fab. And I don't mean that in any kind of,
Lil Kim,
insulting way. I mean,
Lil
you
Kim is a
got,
better MC in every way. She's had better albums. She's had better singles. She's had better scene stealing verses. She's had more important scene stealing verses. She's been more of a setter. She's been more of an icon. It's not even a fucking question. That's what I'm saying. What are we talking about?
I would have to agree with you. I think the thing that makes this Conway
Where Fab No Time at or hardcore at?
I think the thing that makes this Conway thing kind of interesting for people, and I was having a conversation with Ron Vay, it's about the versatility thing. And I think we addressed this on last show where the era that Fab came up in, he had to be able to make the record for the girls, make records for the street, make records for the radio. And in my personal opinion, listening to From a King to a God, I think that Conway is fully capable to do all of those things that MCs had to do from, let's just say, 99 to 2005 or whatever, when radio was still in play. Um, I understand the freestyles and the punchlines and all those things that Fab, was able to excel in and be next level on. But for me, I've always felt like Fab just never really had that definitive project like, Conway has, From a King to a God. And I think, again, we talked about this last year. I think the record with Jill Scott in a different era, that's a big record. You know what I'm saying?
Big,
Like
big
in the
record in a different
106
era.
in the 106 and Park era, that's a big record. You know what I'm saying? Like
Big, big
that's a record
record.
you see on the countdown all the time.
Big,
I
big
think
record.
I think the Murder Beats
The
track that he
Murder Beats
had on,
record.
yeah, in
Yep.
a different era, that's a
Yeah.
big record. So
That should be banging in the club.
I don't subscribe to the notion that Conway is one dimensional. I think that they're pegging some of the notions of that crew at large, or whatever people feel about that crew at large, to him. I think he's shown diversity. Getting on records with Ludacris and JID and flipping his flow in that way. The KD record that he put out last year, like, he's shown all kind of versatility. I think that you guys are saying that we aren't familiar with Fab's catalog. I don't think y'all are
The
familiar
other
with
way
Conway's
around.
catalog. And I
Right.
think that's
No,
what
hold
we're
on.
experiencing here.
Hold on. He can even do West Coast gangster, shoot sideways with Schoolboy Q on Lulu.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's rhymed on Juicy J's album. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does things like that. He's rhymed with pretty much everybody. Just got off a record with Busta and Kane we were just talking about.
Not a
Um,
problem.
I
Lemon.
truly believe
Lemon.
I
Like,
do you
like
think if both of the, and I want to ask the people too, since we always do this when it comes to 3000 and Eminem or whatever. Do you think if both of them got on a record together, who you think's coming out with the best verse?
listen here. When has when has anybody the caliber of Method Man jumped on a verse with Fab for his first single? And Fab stood toe to toe with somebody like that on his first single.
Well, outside of Jadakiss, Who is the best? Who are the best MCs that Fab ever had to trade bars with?
Definitely Kiss on the Soul Food album.
No,
I
I ain't
mean, it's
talking. Now
Kiss.
let's take Kiss out of it, because when you're in a group with somebody, it's a little different. You're trying to mesh. But I'm just talking about outside of the group dynamic. Who are the best
He's on.
MCs that
He's
Fab has
on.
had to trade bars with?
He's on. You ain't got nothing on me on the Carter 3 with Jewels and Wayne.
That's the highest.
I mean, I think that's pretty high. He's with Kiss and Jeezy on OJ.
Jeezy ain't got no bars.
Don't say it like that. That's disrespectful.
He don't, man. I mean, he cool. You know what I'm saying? He got some cool songs, some dope beats, and some hooks.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
He's not your quote unquote. Like, you're not going to Jeezy for the lyrical, metaphorical, allegorical display.
I don't expect Jeezy to out rap Fab.
I don't either.
Yeah.
So that's totally understandable when you say it that way. No. I hear you. I'm just trying to think in my mind. Red Cafe, nice.
He's nice.
Yeah,
but
nice.
I mean, is Red Cafe Method Man? Benny the Butcher.
No. None of these guys I mentioned are Method Man, by the
Yeah.
way. None of these guys I mentioned, I think, are Method Man.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, finally got around to the new Wayne single and Nicki project, and I liked them. Still a slow start to the first of the year of music overall, though. I did like the Wayne single. I liked it.
Hey.
And, you know, oddly enough, I'm not a huge Swizz fan. I think I've expressed that on this show before. But I love when Wayne and Swizz get together. They knock it out the park. It's weird. It's really weird. Wayne and Swizz knock it out the park a lot.
I don't understand you sometimes.
I'm not a huge Swizz fan. I mean, I think it's some of the sounds that Swizz uses. I think it's some of the drums.
I think he's a classic, like, home run hitter.
Yeah.
It's like most home run hitters strike out a lot. But when they hit, oh man, they hit. When he hits, he hits.
Listen, I just don't think that Swizz is a person that would be a go-to, for me. But I will say this, when he hooks up, Swizz brings energy to the room. And I think for certain artists, he brings that energy out in them. But track for track, I probably wouldn't go to him. You know what I mean? And I think that's why he works so well with Wayne, because he's able to bring that energy out in Wayne that, he brings the best out of him. He doesn't just give him a beat. Now, I will give that to Swizz. I think he actually works with the artist. You remember when, I think he was on Shade 45 or they were on Sway or something, and he was there with Cassidy, and, you know what I'm saying, playing on his beats, and Cassidy was just rhyming. He was hyping him up and stuff. Like, I think Swizz is great for that. But I just think on a technical level, I'm just not a huge fan stylistically with what he does and the sounds he uses. Like, I never was a big fan of Rockwilder's production either. Coop, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, did you like Rockwilder's production or yeah?
Not more than Swizz, if I had to be honest.
Yeah. So,
in a vacuum and like overall.
Where would you play Swizz then? I mean, all time producers. Hip hop producers, I mean.
Dr. Dre, DJ Quick, DJ Paul, Premier, Pete Rock, Kanye, Havoc, Hit Boy, Large Professor, Metro. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Marley Marl, Organized Noise. I would personally take Derek D. Dot and Nasheem Myrick out of Bad Boys Hitmen. You know what I'm saying? Easy Mo B. Yeah. It's a lot of cats. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot. Q-Tip.
Yeah.
Dilla.
Yeah. I got Timbaland and Neptunes ahead of him too. Yeah, I got Timbaland and Neptunes.
But I would put him ahead of maybe like Just Blaze, No ID.
I don't know if I could put him ahead of Just Blaze.
I would put Eric Sermon ahead of Swizz too.
Yeah. I don't think I could put him ahead of Just Blaze.
I can.
I don't know.
He made DMX his second best album, and he did make one of DMX's 5 biggest songs. And like to be honest with you, when you hear DMX in the club, there's like a 50% chance it's a record that Swizz did because it's usually Rough Riders anthem or Party Up.
Would you like the Patreon that?
What do you mean?
Would
Just
you like
Blaze
to take?
versus.
Yeah, would you like to take Swizz and I'll take Just?
Didn't you already take this L with Just?
I
So we
took
gonna
an
play
L with
Just.
Just
So we
in
gonna take
terms
Just.
of
We gonna play
having.
Just shit again.
I'll do Just again. I'll do a replay. But I was
Money
going against
Cash Flows
Havoc.
was pretty big, Mike. Even though you know Casio flows, still the record is what it is. Pistol on My Side with Wayne, Echo with Nas.
Echo's awesome.
Echo
Pistol on
was
My
rap
Side
song of
is
the year, in
awesome.
my opinion, that year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LP with the super chat says, notice none of these cats are talking crazy about Nas. Of course not. Because you know what? At the end of the day, what Nas is doing is real. And you know what else is interesting? We'll get to that. Let me get to the rest of these super chats. Mad Max with the super chat says, Most Def had one album. He ain't Fab. Sorry. I got Most Def over Fab, man.
Hey, real talk. This is what I'm talking about. This is how I feel about Fab. I know Fab catalog run deeper and run harder, and I know we give Yasin some flack on here about some things, but there's not a real head out here that thinks that Fab can out-rhyme that nigga Yasin Bey. No. Don't nobody outside think that.
I want to put this in context, man, because again,
Yasin in form would obliterate. It would be distance in that 100-yard dash. She'd be like, that man beat this nigga by 2 seconds.
I like Fab a lot, right?
That.
I like Fab. That. I'm familiar with Fab's career. I've been listening to Fab's verses here and there since like 1999, right? Since the Professional or slightly before. But this is what I'm going to say. And I say this in no disrespectful terms. I just have never viewed Fab as elite MCing talent. When you hear Mos Def or Yasin Bey for the first time I heard him was on B-Boy Document. I was like, okay, this dude's different. Then I heard Miss Fat Booty. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy has elite talent.
Special.
I heard him on Respiration. This guy has elite talent. Yeah. I've never heard Fab and felt like this is an elite MC. And I feel like, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong out there, if Fab did have those elite abilities, he would have been able to take Jay-Z's spot in New York at that time when Jay-Z stepped aside. That, you know what I mean? Like that was a natural progression. If he hands. What's that?
But it ended up in 50 hands and Cameron's hands and Dipset hands.
Because 50 is an elite talent. Maybe not elite MCing, quote unquote. But when it comes to song making
you want to know what though, Mike? If we talking about, this is what I'm saying. So if you want to actually talk about like MCing though, 50's a better MC than Fab.
I agree.
The only thing that Fab does better than 50 is the punchlines. And 50's still funny as hell and witty as hell with some of his punchlines. He's just not as lyrically, metaphorically sharp as Fab is, I would say.
You know, Fab doesn't even have a 21 questions, and that's his lane. You know what I'm saying? This 50 guy can give you a 21 questions and a mini man. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, it's funny.
Fab ain't got many men in him.
So, Mike, check this out. I actually have, I do some coin collecting and some foreign currency collecting. And I have a 50-cent piece. And I dropped it today, Mike. I dropped it on my wooden table. It actually sounded like the intro to Get Rich or Die Trying. And I said to myself, oh no, these niggas really kept it authentic. They really dropped a 50-cent piece now because it's different, because it's heavier, because of the time that it was built. It sounds different when it hits the table.
You can hear the sonics. You know, we were just watching BMF actually earlier today. I was with some folks. I'm catching up on the BMF series. And even that intro that 50 has for that series, it's fire. Like 50 can make records. And I don't think 50 ever, quote unquote, fell off. I think people just kind of got tired of 50 and wanted to move on. I think that one of the things that Kanye did do to 50, Kanye kept evolving and kept changing the sounds, where 50 kept that traditional hard street you know what I'm saying,
Well,
repertoire.
I would disagree with you. What I would say is that what you have is usually most peak all time great performers usually have about a 5 year run
Mm-hmm.
that you can look at and be like, bang. And I think with him, because his contributions went so much to the entirety of his camp in a successful way, like when you look at what he contributed to the documentary,
Mm-hmm.
to Lloyd Banks's album, to Young Buck Straight Outta Cashville, to the actual G Unit project Beg for Mercy. You know what I mean? Like, and then you look at his like follow up projects, the second and third projects, Curtis and the Massacre,
Right.
respectively. Second the Massacre, then Curtis. That's a lot of work that he did from like 2003 to like 2007.
Yeah.
And so I do think that the quality dropped off. But it's like one of those things. It's like, well, when a guy averages 35.
Think Coop froze for a second. Again, it's probably my end. We'll see. Bear with us real quick.
I can't see you right now.
Okay, Coop, you back. I think that was kind of, signal going on. Matt Max of the Super Chat says, Joe Button, Wayne, Jewels, Cam, Fab rapped with everyone. Is that everyone, Mad Max? That's that everyone? 36 Chambers with the Super Chat says, what does Fab have that touches black on both sides? I was going to ask some questions like that, too, because, I think I just saw Melvin Wright with a Super Chat I want to address. Dane with the Super Chat says, I DM Coop about a podcaster, hip-hop hero, who has a lot of interesting takes on Nas that will probably make your head explode. Just wondering if you listen to it. I mean, it's probably some trolling shit, to be honest. Just You Run with the Super Chat says, Fab is better than Conway. Fab's not better than Jada, Method Man, or Luda, but he's better than Conway. He would lose in a versus against Fab. So y'all think Ludacris is better than Conway too, huh?
See, this is what I'm saying. Mike, I do truly think this is a matter of acquaintance. Like, as in not acquainted with the other artist as well as maybe you think that you are.
I think so too. I mean, and that's what I'm gonna kind of chuck it off to, because Melvin Wright says y'all got to stop with the madness about Fab. What madness? Okay, let's rewind here. Let's go to the MCs that are in Fab's era.
What madness are you talking about? Like, how about this? No, Mike. Hold on 1 second. What has Fab done that Jadakiss hasn't done in spades?
I was gonna go to his era, right? Because I feel like
is his era.
Yeah, I know. But Jada's a little bit more of an OG of his, right? What I was gonna say,
that's 90, Mike. That's like 97 versus like 98, 99. Like, no, it ain't that.
I feel you. Jada was on some big records. I was gonna pull out T.I. and Wayne, right? Does Fab have an urban legend? Does Fab have a trap music? Does Fab have a paper trail even? Does Fab have a King?
No.
Are we tripping?
No. T.I.'s 4 best albums are better than Fab's best album.
Does Fab have a Carter 2?
Does he have a What You Know? Let's stay on T.I. Where's his What You Know?
Does he have the features that, some of these people have that we're talking about?
Where's his Blurred Lines or his My Love?
Are we tripping? Like, I don't
know. That's what I'm saying is like...
Because I want to know what people are basing this on. Kind of like what Melly Mel said. What are the criteria here? Are we just talking about Fab as a punchline MC? Are we talking about...
You want to know what, Mike?
Because it can't be the albums, right? Are we talking about the singles? Because the singles are... You know what? Since we want to go there, we want to talk about versatility, we want to talk about singles. What is Fab's biggest record? Is it Breathe?
I think it's You Make Me Better with Neo.
Oh my God!
You said biggest record. Did you know? You said biggest record, didn't you?
I did say that. Does anybody remember what he played last on his verses?
I don't know, Mike. He played some losing efforts against Jadakiss, though, and we fault Jadakiss for not having enough classic album or classic singles.
And Jada was able to double back and do a whole nother verses.
Because Jada's a beast for real out here, and that's what I'm saying. Is it's like, look at what happened to him against Kiss, and how we get on Kiss for not having enough quote unquote big solo records and classic solo projects. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear what happened?
Ab Studio with the super chat says, you guys hear Bink's interview on Math Hoffa complaining about Just Blaze jacking his style. He's right. I get it. You Don't Know sounds just like 1900 Hustler.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I didn't see the interview. I'm going to check it out. But I remember when Kanye said that on Drink Champs. And it was interesting to me that Jay-Z doesn't really address anything. But Jay-Z went out there and addressed and defended Just Blaze and said that was the quote-unquote theme of the album. It's hard to think that that was the theme of the album if they included, Jigga That Nigga Jigga and, Ola Ovito and Renegade on there. But it seems that Just Blaze was being empowered by somebody in there to copy these guys. You know what I'm saying?
That's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. That's Camp Holden Ford. That's Camp Holden Ford.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, I don't think everybody should come down on Just for it. It seems like it was a collective effort. We need you to make beats like this.
See, here's what I want to do, Mike. We're at 34 on our hip-hop list, and everybody talking this Fab shit. But I'm going to tell you who we got lined up. We got Rick Ross, Game, T.I. Styles, and Lupe. Those were supposed to be the next 5. Guru, Doom, Azine, Beans, and Tretch were supposed to come after that. But I want to slide Fab right in the middle of that so we can get to him today. Because when we get to 40, because that's what I'm saying is that Fab's not a top 50 MC.
Oh, my goodness. Deontay Smith with the super chat says, you guys are talking about... Huh?
You think Fab better than AZ? Where's his Sugar Hill? Where's his Do or Die? Where's his Life's a Bitch verse? You want to talk about trading bars with legendary MCs? How's AZ?
You think AZ is better than Fab, huh?
I don't think so. I know so. Where is Fab better? He's definitely not a better lyricist or wordsmith. He doesn't have a better delivery. He doesn't have a better voice.
Let me get to these super chats.
Platinum single. Sugar Hill went platinum in 1995.
He's in the firm too.
Single.
He's in the firm too.
He's on phone tap.
Let me get to these super chats real quick. Deontay Smith with the super chat says, you guys talked the other day about producers carrying an album. Can we be real and say that that was the case for Get Rich or Die Trying? I don't think producers carried that, because I think you and I have done a breakdown of Get Rich or Die Trying, and we talk about the hook work that 50 Cent displayed on that album. Do you realize, Deontay Smith, that 50 did all of the hooks on that album? He didn't just sit there and let a sample do it or bring in, the producer to do it, and he was able to make hit singles pretty much in a vacuum on his own. Like, any of those features that were on Get Rich or Die Trying, rap-wise, he could have eliminated, really. He didn't need any of those features to carry any of those songs. So, no, I don't think it's just the producer thing. And honestly, I think the beats were awesome, but I think he enhanced those beats. You could have given those same beats to anybody in that crew, and it wouldn't have been the same record. Brian with the super chat.
My style.
Right.
You like how I break it down.
You would bring up the Rockweiler produced record.
I'll show you how.
Brian with the super chat says,
might be the best beat.
You think so? Nah.
It's up there.
I think the best beat
I
on that
told you, Like My Style is my new anthem, Mike, but that was always my shit. I used to love the record.
I like that record a lot. I like that record a lot.
It feels good. That feels like 50 to me.
If I Can't Do It, I think is one of the ones that really feels like 50 to me. I think that one.
I agree.
What Up Gangsta and High All the Time are some of the best beats on there.
What Up Gangsta?
What Up Gangsta is insane. Insane. I think that's the best beat on there, in my personal opinion. Brian with the super chat says, first super chat, love the show. Thanks for always keeping it real. I think Fab's definitive work is his mixtapes. If those Soul Tape mixtapes were albums, Fab's catalog
What?
would be given higher praise.
What?
I
We
agree
talking
with
about
that,
mixtapes
Brian.
when these we talking about mixtapes when all these dudes got mixtapes and classic albums? Is that what we doing?
I agree
Then
with
you're,
what Brian's saying, though. I agree with what Brian's saying, but
but with what Brian is saying, Mike, means that he's not top 50 then.
this is
Because
what
if you
I.
have to go to somebody's mixtape, if you have to go to somebody's mixtapes, oh no, we ain't playing that shit.
But this is the thing.
That's like me arguing with Pusha T up here. But Mike, the Re-Up Gang mixtapes, it's like, nah,
Yeah.
nigga, I'm up here like Daytona, Hell Hath No Fury.
You're right.
Grind Me.
You're right.
Runaway with Kanye.
You're right.
Stop
I mean,
playing with
honestly,
me.
man, we could say the
Talking
same
about some
thing.
mixtape.
We could say the same thing for 50 Cent. We talk about those 10 for 10 mixtapes and stuff like that. Like
I don't talk about 50 like that.
Elephant in the Sand. You know what I mean? Like, he got crazy mixtape stuff, but it's like, my thing is, and I like
But
the
he
soul
may get
tapes.
rich or die trying.
Yeah, and I love the soul tapes, but I feel like Fab being who he is or where he was at that point in the game, like you guys said, platinum selling artists, very successful. Why didn't those soul tapes ring bells like they could have? You know what I mean? Like, if it were somebody, like, let's just say somebody who had made classic efforts, I hate to keep bringing Jay's name into it, but if Jay would have made those soul tapes, we would know them. You know what I mean? The mass public would recognize them. So y'all telling us that the soul tapes were underrated? Why? Maybe because Fab's just not might just not be elite. I'm sorry. I hate you have coming from the era that he came from, you kind of have to approve your eliteness through album form. Mixtapes is kind of a safe way out to a degree. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Fab doesn't have quotable verses. It sounds good. Yeah. Where are Fab's quotables? Mad Max with the super chat says, Fab's the GOAT mixtape rapper ever, and he smoked Wayne. Now, see, there it is. To say that Fab's the GOAT mixtape rapper, you're just a Fab fan. That's not an objective statement. That's not an objective statement at all. Just You Run with the super chat says, Conway ain't better than Ransom. How is he better than Fab? Fab in his prime has hits, the Soul Tape series, the Young OG project. Fab has a song with Jay-Z too. Talking about When the Money Goes.
See how people talking about, see how people keep bringing up Soul Tapes, a song with Jay-Z. Fab has hits. List them out right quick.
Exactly. I was going to say, list some songs from the Soul Tapes.
No, list the hits, Mike. Like, how many hits was it actually? You get what I'm saying?
I think that's fair. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, Fab had collaborated with Pusha T, Ross, T.I., Wayne, Jay-Z, Jada, Wayne, again. Trying to inflate it by putting Wayne twice. So we got two Waynes going on. Lloyd Banks. And he also has hits whether it's your cup of tea or not. Like you said, Coop. Let's list the hits. Let's break down these incredible hits.
No. I'm going to go look it up so people don't jump all over the place. We're about to pull up Fabolous catalog.
Let's do it. Quick. I love it. Let's do it on a Wednesday. Roy Wana with the super chat says, Coop shouldn't be talking crazy like this. Open the phone lines. We got the phone lines coming. That's happening. I can't wait to open up the phone lines with you guys if y'all want to sit here and talk all this Fab guy hits. Jay Short with the super chat says, mixtape Fab is different than radio. He's in my personal top 15 because he's one of the best multi-syllable and metaphor rappers ever, and he's most underachieved on albums. Okay, let's play with that notion for a second, Jay Short.
No, hold on.
No. If you underachieve on albums, how are we supposed to rank you?
What are we talking about?
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the whole conversation with this Djokovic guy, right? He's about to win his third MVP.
No. Djokovic is the tennis player. You're talking about Jokic.
I'm sorry, Jokic. I'm sorry. I'm American. I pronounced the J. I apologize. But Jokic, right? So he's about to win his third MVP. No one's scared
Not
of
yet.
him in the playoffs.
It's not in the bag, Mike. Embiid is making a strong case right
They're
now
gonna
that he
give
should
it
be
to him.
MVP.
They're gonna give it to him. But even if they don't, right?
Better go to the finals.
He's
In a lot
won
of trouble.
two. He's won 2 in a row, but no one fears him in the playoffs. Now, when we talk about all of the all-time great NBA players, no one's gonna mention him. And I was talking to my boy Ron the other day, man. I got love for Dirk, but nobody was ever scared of Dirk. Even as great of a talent that Dirk Nowitzki was, he wasn't that player that somebody like a Tim Duncan was. Even, and I want to say this because of a less flashier player. People feared Tim Duncan and what Tim Duncan could do to you in game moments. I think Jokic is that, and to bring this back to our conversation, if we know this person consistently underachieves when it's album time, then how are we even putting you up here with the people who have achieved during album time?
Okay, people have to understand something. Let's look at it like this, Mike. When you go on hip-hop radio and you do freestyles or verses, or when you throw out little clips on YouTube, that's practice. That's rehearsal time.
Yeah.
A mixtape ain't nothing but a regular season game, Mike. We got 82 of those.
Exactly.
Your album is the motherfucking playoffs.
Yeah, that's the championship.
This is how you get into the championship round.
Yeah.
Now, how your album sounds determines whether you go home in the first round or whether you go all the way to the finals and get you a championship ring.
Are you an 8th seed or are you a first seed?
Stop treating these soul tapes like they're playoff round games when they're just one of 82. Now, you know, Mike, we live in Atlanta. You know how many stories I can tell you about how niggas behave like niggas set up their professional athletes set up time in Atlanta has the game that they gonna fuck up or fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just one of 82. They like, oh, we in the A. Like, oh, we might have to take this L tonight because we ain't getting no sleep because we're going to go. Because they know it's one of 82, Mike. When it's the playoffs, they be in the hotel room in Atlanta.
Well,
you understand what
let
I'm
me
saying?
bring this up.
It's different.
Because we just got finished talking about 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying, right? That's game time shit. The buzz was big and he delivered.
That's a championship
That's
ring,
a
Mike.
championship. If he would have went out there and quote unquote underachieved for that project, you know how much of a loss that would have been? So he can't, and regardless if people like 50 or not, you got to respect the fact when all the lights were on and all the hype was there and the machine was on, that man performed at a legendary level.
As much as I talk about how much I don't care for The Massacre or Curtis, those two albums are better than any project Fab has released. What we talking about?
Roy Warner with the super chat says, Get Rich or Die Trying wasn't the best work in 03. Overrated. I think that's an opinion, but what I will say.
What's that, B? Would it be B 03?
No, B was 05.
What's 03?
I don't know what he thinks is better than Get Rich or Die Trying to 03. Maybe the Black Album. I will say this.
How about this?
It had the year on lock. And that's just, you can't refute that.
Hold on. I'm about to give you some context. Well, in 1996, Mike, this guy named Tupac released All Eyes on Me.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not have been the best album overall to some people, but it was clearly one of the 3 or 4 or 5 best. And he the person that really owned the year. Got it?
This is what I will say too. To that overrated notion, right? Shit. To that overrated notion, and we're about to get to who I think is possibly the most overrated artist of all time. To say that Get Rich or Die Trying is overrated, I can actually bring up records to refute that notion and the way that those records perform. I'll start with In the Club. I'll start with 21 Questions. I also go with Many Men on a street level. I'll also go with What Up Gangsta on a street level. You had PIMP was a successful record. You had If I Can't Do This, It Can't Be Done was a successful record. Like, how could you even say that those are overrated records? Those are dope records.
Listen to what I'm about to say, Mike. 50 has diamond certifications coming in this year for singles off of Get Rich or Die Trying. Not the album. He has diamond certifications coming in this year for singles off of Get Rich or Die Trying. Fab, what? You get what I'm saying?
Y'all
Like,
think What Up Gangsta's whack? Now, I mean, are there people out there that think What Up Gangsta's not a dope record?
Hold on. No. Because here's what we need to do now, Mike. Hold on 1 second. Can't Deny It with Nate Dogg.
Yeah.
Holla Back, Youngin.
I like that record a lot.
Me too.
With
Trade
the
It All.
with the Vanilla
Ice Flow.
Yeah.
Trade It All with Jagged Edge.
I wasn't a big fan of Trade It All.
Well, it's not that good. Can't Let You Go.
Wasn't a big fan of Can't Let You Go.
What about Into You with Tamia? Did you like that?
I didn't like it because I loved the Tamia record, and at the time, I felt it was too soon because the Tamia record came out in '98. What was that, 02? And I'm like, they're sampling this already? Now, that could have just me being a tough ass or whatever, but I didn't like it because I liked the original so much. So I'm a little jaded on that. Yeah.
This Is My Party.
Didn't like that record at all. I remember that.
Trade It All Part 2.
Nah.
Where are these hits at that people talking about? Hold on. Let's go.
Keep going.
Breathe.
Fire. His best record to me.
Breathe is his best record to me, correct.
Yeah.
Baby.
I love Baby, actually. I like that record.
I like it. I don't love it. I like it. I don't love it.
It had the Michael Jackson sample. I loved the video or whatever. They was out
Michael
there.
Jackson samples, Mike.
It's got
Mike. It's got Mike. So you were like sold. That's all that is. Tit for tat. Tit for tat.
I actually like Tit for Tat, but I'll say this.
That's Neptune.
It's a Neptune
also
track.
Like the Neptunes.
I was gonna say
Michael Jackson. What a shock! Like,
it's a Neptune track, but I will say this. I think it's kind of a B-side Neptune track. I like it, but if you ask me if I like that or Philly's Most Wanted,
Neptune's verses. That's for damn sure.
No,
the Neptunes ain't playing that shit.
I like Philly's Most Wanted. Please Don't Mind more than I like that record. But that's just my opinion. I like Tit for Tat, but go ahead, keep going. But that's not a hit. Let's be clear. Tit for Tat's not a hit.
You're bugging either way you want to call it, Mike. But that's cool. Let's see.
I'm just being honest with the records I like and didn't like. You know what I'm saying? But even with these records I'm saying I'm liking, these aren't elite hip-hop records at all.
Diamonds.
Featuring
Jeezy. See, you don't even remember that.
I don't remember that one.
Do the Damn Thing.
I remember that. I thought Jeezy's verse was hilarious.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, the Jeezy Commando on that Remy Martin. Nigga, matter of fact, I ain't Fat Joe, but I can make you lean back. See if your ammo, don't waste it. Got him dodging bullets like he in the Matrix. All right, go ahead. I just want to let people know I know the records.
I like that. Return of the Hustle.
I don't remember that record.
Because it featured Swizz. That's why you were so selective. You were showing your bias.
I don't remember that record.
I know, because it's a Swizz record. So you're probably like, oh, Swizz did it. You ain't listened to it.
Right, I probably just skipped right through.
Right. So this is what this says. His third single, Make Me Better, which features fellow Def Jam artist Neo and is produced by Timberland, was his biggest hit to date, spending 14 weeks at #1 on the Hot Rap Track Billboard track. So
You Make Me Better is his biggest record?
So Make Me Better is his biggest song, Mike. What is that telling you? Like, Make Me Better may not even make Get Rich or Die Trying.
I agree with you.
What are we doing here?
Leroy Green with the super chat
you
says...
You gonna soul tape me? Soul tape?
Leroy Green says, the counter-argument...
We talking about practice? We talking about soul tapes? We talking about soul tapes?
Let me get the...
Mike, we supposed to be fighting about Illmatic and Paid in Full and Only Built for Cuban Links and Aquemini, and you niggas is pulling up with some soul tapes. If you don't get the fuck out of here with that.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, the counter argument you guys make is 100 based on all-time comparison. All MCs lose something there because nobody can be perfect. Breathe. No one's asking anybody to be perfect. I think that we're talking about, in my personal opinion, this is an artist that if we're correlating this to basketball, right? This is somebody who might make the All-Star reserve team 2 or 3 times. You know what I mean? And that's
Antoine
being
Jameson.
generous. You know what I'm saying?
Antoine Jameson.
Yeah, and it's like we're not going to bring up Antoine Jameson in an all-time NBA conversation. We're just not.
Detlef Shrimp.
Christian Laettner. But see, these guys got college careers.
No. Leighton only made one All-Star team. At least Detlef made a few.
Mm-hmm.
No, Antoine made 4. Detlef made 3.
Antoine
That's what
made
I'm saying.
4?
That's
Wow. Shout out
Antoine
to
Jameson
Antoine.
made I think he made at least 2 or 3, Mike. Yeah, he did.
I liked Antoine Jameson's game a lot.
Yeah, he's got a great game. Like, there are guys like that, Mike. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are guys who are ballers. Remember Derek Harper for the Knicks?
Mm-hmm.
Derek Harper used to play for the Mavericks. He should have made All-Star team with the Mavericks in the Western Conference, but guess what? That's when the Western Conference still had Magic Johnson, John Stockton.
Yeah.
Tim Hardaway was still in his prime. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you ain't gonna
It was hard to make the team. Then he moves to New York. You know what I'm saying?
Brian with the super chat says, Coop, to clarify, not saying he's top 50. Okay. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, soul tapes were mixtapes. Those weren't retail. Now you're moving the post.
Say what now?
He says, soul tapes were mixtapes. Those weren't retail. Now you're moving the post. Jay Short with the super chat says, in fairness, don't we give Lil Wayne extra credit for his mixtapes? Also, soul tapes came at the end of the mixtape era. I don't think we give Wayne extra credit for his mixtapes. I think we do for his hit singles and his features. And I think for a lot of people, what the mixtapes add to Wayne is validation that he can rhyme. But when it comes to the records, I don't think we do.
I don't even believe that, Mike, because I still believe his greatest validation of skills of rhyme is the Carter 2, which is an album. And if anything, I actually think Wayne's mixtapes sometimes hurt him. And listen to what I'm about to say, because there's so much material that gets lost in the minutia of his greatness.
Not Mad Max. Michael Williams with the super chat says, which Jay-Z feature is better? I Love the Dough or Never Let Me Down?
I love the dough.
You know, this is what I'm going to say, man. I really...
Rhyming next to big.
I personally like the verses on Never Let Me Down more.
Rhyming next to big.
But I'm kind of going to go with Coop on this because Never Let Me Down are recycled verses.
Are they?
They are recycled verses. They're from the Hovey Baby remix. That's why I like when I talk about the fact that he never really tried when it came to collaborating with Kanye, especially early. Like, you threw him some throwaway recycled verses on the College Dropout when everybody else literally brought their A game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, Jay Talk game is just different on I Love the Dough. And the watches be all types of shapes and stones. Being broke is childish and I'm quite grown. Run up in the club with the ice on, me and Python. Scope the spot out, see something nice and I'm gone. You cats is home screaming the fight's on. I'm in the 1,500 seats watching Tyson. Same night, same fight, but one of us cats ain't playing right. I let you tell it.
I don't like the Tupac shot. I don't like the Tupac shot, but you know. But you know what, man?
The two felons, and tell me you won't ball every chance you get. At any chance we hit, we live for the moment. Makes sense, don't it?
I was talking to somebody about this the other day, man. I was talking to somebody about this the other day.
I Love the Dough.
I was
like, how about this?
Go ahead.
If people, like, I actually prefer. That might be the one time it's like people feel like he may have like had the better verse than Big on Young G's, but it's like I feel like if he ever style-wise was as good as Big, that's the record. Like everything that Biggie is, flow and delivery style-wise, Jay matches on that record. And that's why, like, I actually listen to I Love the Dough more than I listen to Brooklyn's Finest because I think they sound better together on the record. Because I think they've got the competitiveness out the way and they're focused on making the record. But Jay's flow is disgusting on
I think it's a better record. I love Jay on Angela Winbush samples. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels different. I was talking about this with somebody the other day, man. I still don't. I don't like the Tupac shots on Life After Death. I think they're so unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that a lot of that added to the animus that, ultimately created that environment for his untimely demise at the location it happened. Like, it was just unnecessary, man. I wish those things would have been cut out of the album. The man was gone. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, here's what I'll tell you is that, words are powerful, Mike. They'll manifest themselves into reality. So, say less.
yeah. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, underachiever on albums should rate the same way that you rate Jada. I was thinking that when we said that about underachieving on albums. So what would you tell somebody that says, okay, well, Jadakiss underachieved on albums. What's the difference between him and Fab?
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Did you listen to the Fab songs that I just listed off?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start listing off Jadakiss's song right quick.
Okay.
Knock Yourself Out.
Okay.
We Gonna Make It.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there it
Put
is.
your hands up.
Put your hands up.
Listen to those 3 records. Those 3 records off his first album are better than any 3 of those Fabulous records I just named.
Does Jadakiss have a better song than Breathe to you?
No, here's what I'm saying is that Breathe would go up against We Gonna Make It. You put the best song against the best song. Now, what's the better record? We Gonna Make It or Breathe?
You know what? I personally say We Gonna Make It, but Breathe is actually a fabulous record, whereas We Gonna Make It is Jada and Style. So that does Jada have a? He does. The last verse is crazy. Does Jada have a song where it's just him that you would put up against Breathe?
Yeah, Jason. The Swizz Beatz record, Jason.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
I
L
put
Web
Jason up against Breathe.
The L Web with the super chat says, I'm taking diplomatic immunity and chicken and beer over Get Rich or Die Trying. That's crazy. Speaking of which, though, what say you when it comes to Cam and Jada on an all-time, like, because Cam got the albums. But Cam got the albums and the singles, though.
That's it. 1, 2. That's it. You got to have more than 2 things to beat Jada, because Jada has everything else. Jada and Meth are in the same spot where it's like, matter of fact, no, Meth is in a different spot because Meth's got the hit records, the singles, and like all that stuff.
And the hook
but
game.
Jada's in a spot where it's like, the only people better than Jada, Mike, are Method Man and people with multiple classics. I don't know how else to say that to people. The only people better than, I'm going to say it again, the only people better than Jadakiss have multiple classics and bigger hits.
Let me ask you this, though.
Those are the only people walking around better than Jadakiss, Mike. That's only like 15 to 16, 17 people.
What would you say makes Jadakiss immune to not having that quintessential classic album?
I don't know. Like, how about this? If Jadakiss had a Purple Tape or a Purple Tape 2, y'all would we would have him in the spot that I have Ray in. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't know what makes him immune to that. I mean, because explain why,
When you say immune to it, that's what I'm saying about being like some of the victim of circumstance. It's like, first of all, how about this? This is what I'm saying. Like, are these records not big enough for? I think some of what happened to Jadakiss was that, New York kind of fell out of favor with the mainstream a little bit around his comeuppance, with the exception of 50's comeuppance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the time that he actually dropped actually was kind of like maybe a bad time, like for him. But you and I have often talked about, well, let's look at it like this, Mike. How many verses
Thumbs
are
up
all
in the
about
chat,
the
y'all.
Benjamin?
Thumbs up in the chat. You say how many verses?
How many verses are on All About the Benjamin? It's 5, right?
Yep, five verses.
That's one of the biggest and best rap songs ever, is it not?
It is.
Didn't Jadakiss write 2 of those verses?
He did.
Okay. Isn't he on a record with Mariah? Isn't he on a record with Jennifer Lopez?
He is.
I'm just asking questions here. Is he not on a record with DMX?
He is.
Multiple times. Has he not, and listen to what I'm saying, has he not faded Jay-Z and DMX? and maybe even in some people's opinion, Nas on record. Well, yes.
Well,
Like he's got everything but that undeniable classic.
I
That's
want to
literally the only
stop you
thing that
there,
I have.
though. I want to stop you
Got
there
everything.
because I know for me,
Everything.
when Jada was getting like the biggest buzz as possible, I think with DMX being in the Rough Riders, and we saw what DMX did with It's Dark and Hell is Hot. For me, at the time, that was a big separation between who Jada is as an MC and where somebody like DMX is. And I think
Jada's the
that
better MC. X is the bigger star.
yeah, but I think this is some of the stuff that we're talking about with Fab too, because in my mind, when I hear somebody execute on an album like It's Dark and Hell is Hot, in my mind, I'm like, as an MC, I don't see Jada being able to pull that off. As an MC, I don't see somebody like Fab being able to pull that off. So this is somebody that's in a different dimension. Now, in Jadakiss's case, there are some things that he can do that DMX couldn't do at that time. You know what I
I was
mean?
about to say, Mike, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, Mike, though. Like, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, it's like, well, only people that can make that album, in my opinion, is like Scarface.
Yeah.
Like, the end.
Well, see, this is the thing, too, and what makes, I don't want to say hurt to Jada's case, but it's like when you look at Styles. Styles P, when they rap back and forth together, I mean, they have the best back and forth, in my personal opinion. They're MCs on the same level, but Styles P makes the better projects. So
let's
how
pause
could
for a
we
second.
have Jada so high and Styles not there? Like, that's even more egregious than, Andre being at 12 and Big Boy not being on the list at all. Because really, why are they so far apart?
I don't have them like super, super far apart. I have Kiss like top 15. I have Styles like top 30, 35. So they're not like a world away from each other in my world. I will tell you, Styles makes the better albums. That's it, Mike.
That's a big thing, though.
No, it's a big thing.
That's a big thing. Does he not make the
No, it's
better
a big
singles?
thing.
And then when you talked about We Gonna Make It, We Gonna Make It is just as much Styles' song as it is Jada's.
That's not true. Jada's got the whole last
Okay.
verse to himself. It's definitely Jada's song because of that.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And that was emphasized, I think. Hold on. I want to go through, like, listen to the records that he's on. First of all, we went through All About the Benjamins, right? Last Day, 24 Hours to Live. In fairness to you, Styles is on a lot of these records. Styles is not on All About the Benjamins, though, now, is he?
He's not.
Okay, so let's just get that straight. You want to know why? Because he don't like doing records like that back then. You
That's
feel
true.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair.
And so don't be like making it seem like Styles like was trying to make these bangers. Like Kiss was making an effort too, and that needed to be like lauded and applauded. I'll Be Missing You, of course. I mean, We'll Always Love Big Papa, of course, they're part of. Money, Power, Respect, If You Think I'm Jiggy. The Lil' Kim and Money, Power, Respect, obviously. Ride or Die Bitch. But he's got Why, Knock Yourself Out. Those are all by himself, right?
Right.
Okay, so what does Styles have, like Why or Knock Yourself Out?
I would say Good Times. I get high every day.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Good Times. Yeah.
Oh, let me get to the super chat real quick. Roy Warner with the super chat says, I don't base quality on sales. I dislike ABC raps. Yeah, we don't either. You know what I'm saying? Melvin Wright with the super chat says, Interscope / Aftermath, period. 50 was overrated. Ooh, I can't wait to get into this next conversation. Esquire with the super chat. Man, gosh, people just be blowing me up. Esquire with the super chat says, Coop, what was the first song that you played when you touched down in New York? Mine was Got Out the Airport. The mob picked me up in the truck. Give it up fast.
Give it up fast. I'll tell you what, when I hopped into 007's 007-ish whip, The World Is Yours was playing. But actually before that, to much people's surprise, because of the amount of hip hop that I take in, I don't usually listen to rap in my free time like that. anymore. So I was actually listening to a little Isley Brothers when I was coming out of the airport.
Nice.
Like, literally.
Jay Short with the
little drifting on a memory. Ain't nowhere I'd rather be than with you.
I was just listening to that record today. Jay Short with the super chat says, people don't like Get Rich or Die Trying because it's not the typical lyrical miracle New York rap. I think a lot of New Yorkers resent 50 for not keeping it New York enough with the production. Yeah, because he had to go out west to get his situation. And yeah, he was using some southern slang and he had some banging beats. I don't know, man. It feels like that's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking because I don't feel like New York was complaining in the moment when 50 was taking over with Get Rich or Die Trying. You know what I'm saying?
It was like we have a new king.
Yeah, I don't remember New York complaining about Get Rich or Die Trying in the moment.
No, they
niggas was riding the
like
wave. Leroy Green with the super chat says, now list Conway's hits. It's a good one. Blue Collar Hustler with the super chat says, may I say I agree with everything y'all are saying, but Breathe is a top 10 single of the 2000s. That song bangs hard. Okay.
What? It might not even been a top 10 single that year.
Roy Wana with the super chat says, it has great single/hits. I'm sorry, I guess he. But it stops there. I guess he's talking about Get Rich or Die Trying. I guess I'm really behind. He says, it has great single/hits, but it stops there. Not an ounce of impressive lyricism expected for a classic. Commercial trash. Wow, y'all are really You know what? I hope the same people who say these things about Get Rich or Die Trying aren't the same people who say that Eminem has classic albums. Because that album's better than every fucking album he's ever put out. No matter how lyrical miracle he is.
By far. Like, without question. Like, here's what I will submit to you. Do you remember the last episode that we had where I was like, and we were talking about Benny? And I was like, nah, go make some more one-way flights instead of Rubber Bands and Wait and Rick and 97 Hove. The way people are behaving in the chat right now is exactly why I'm saying that. Because here's the reality of the matter, Mike, and you know this. Like, you know Benny and Conway's catalog. Oh, the only thing they missing is some hit records, and they shooting past a lot of these niggas that they talking about, including Fab. You feel what I'm saying?
And these are the same people who are discrediting the hit records.
Like, you notice how when we're talking this Conway thing, now they're like, oh, well, Conway don't have no what?
Hits. But if he did have the hits, they would find a way to discredit it.
All these quote-unquote rap niggas up in here in this chat, when I'm talking about Conway, that claim that they love some street shit and love some real hip-hop, Mike. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
But now I start talking about they man Fab, and they like, Conway ain't got no hits. You see how niggas turn so quick?
Right.
And that's why you go make bangers and don't listen to your core audience. Because as soon as them niggas get an opportunity to, they'll turn on you and be like, but that nigga ain't got no hits.
Oh, right. but when you do make the Get Rich or Die Trying, I don't like the commercial stuff. Like 50 said, man, Banks told me, man, go ahead, switch the style up. And if they hate, then let them hate and watch the money pile